We're back in VR, guys, and in this video, I want to talk about how VR affects driving sims, specifically how it affects rally and how much easier VR makes playing games like Richard Burns Rally. If you like VR, click the like button, and if you want to be able to unsubscribe, subscribe so you can unsubscribe. But let's get in the car and do some driving here. We're using virtual desktop as well with this, so it's all wireless. And yes, it's absolutely phenomenal. Let's do a classic stage here, because why not? There are nicer new stages that you can drive in this, but I'm enjoying doing the retro stages for my own nostalgia. But yeah, so when you drive in VR with Rally, it just makes sense, and there's a couple of reasons for why it makes sense. A big part of it is that with the VR, you've obviously got the head tracking, so you can make sure that as you're going through a corner, you can actually look where you want to be going, not where you're currently going, if that makes sense. You can always make sure your head's pointing in the direction of your travel, even if your car is at a 90-degree angle. And that is one of the really, really hard parts of playing VR in 2D, is that lack of head position, if that makes sense. And VR just makes that super, super natural. Just like when you're doing drifting, for example, when you can look into the corner. And I know you can get like camera mods and things to do that, but they really do disorientate you if you try and do it in 2D. Now, another big thing of VR, which is absolutely phenomenal, is just the depth and the three-dimensionality means that you can really know exactly where you are on the road surface and position your car appropriately. So you just have way more confidence in how wide your vehicle is and, you know, where you actually are placed on the road. In that case, you could see how big how big that divot in the ground was to hook the car up. And I skillfully drove straight over the top of it. But I think that's more me than it is a problem with VR. You also, weirdly, 2D actually makes Rally feel a lot faster. Like, VR actually slows things down. Sounds counterintuitive, but like you get a better perception of speed in VR compared to 2D, but then that allows you to actually focus on the position where you are on the track, and it lets you then brake appropriately and preempt yourself for the corners, and it actually feels slower to me. Like, I've got so much more control over where the vehicle is and what's going on, and lining the car up and setting things up for corners, that it's much more in line with what you'd expect things to be in reality. And I think one of the big complaints that a lot of people would make with Richard Burns Rally, for example, it's a big complaint that a lot of real drivers have with simulators, is that it always feels like the braking's not enough, or that your tyres don't have enough bite. And when you play with VR, it really, because you can see the position, the depth and the speed better, it really makes all the inputs feel a lot more connected. I just totally looped my car. I've killed a spectator. We got caught on the bit of water there, and it flipped the back out. Oh wow, what's a dead spectator? It's rally driving. Let's pretend we're doing Group B, it's all fine. Just pull those fingers out of the bonnet. But yeah, it makes things just feel a lot more hooked up and a lot more connected. I would still say Richard Burns Rally still has that kind of overly floaty feel to it. You know, Richard Burns Rally has even more floaty feel to it than the Dirt Rally series, which I think kind of feel nicely hooked up in some ways. But then the floaty feel that you have in Richard Burns Rally allows you to sort of really drift it around corners in quite a fun way. So, you know, it sort of swings and roundabouts. The big thing with Richard Burns Rally is, though, obviously this is with Worker Bee's NGP additional physics and stuff, but the big thing with Richard Burns Rally is that fundamentally you can learn the handling of the vehicle. It's super consistent, it's super controllable. You can drive it on the steering, you can drive it on the throttle. And it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, honestly, it's just crazy to me, guys. It's just crazy how good playing something like Richard Burns Rally in VR is. And it runs really well. It's honestly a next-gen experience. It genuinely feels like a next-gen experience. Richard Burns Rally in VR feels more next-gen than some newer titles. VR already beats out like super duper shiny 3D graphics because you're actually sat in the vehicle. Absolute madness. Let me know in the comments what you think of VR with Richard Burns Rally. What you've had with virtual desktop. Your experience with virtual desktop and Richard Burns Rally, especially in terms of performance. I noticed if I'm driving in the wet, for example, sometimes you because the distortion and all the like raindrops and things, virtual desktop struggles a little bit with the data. I'm not sure if that's... I'm definitely sure you could probably adjust some settings for that. I've got my virtual desktop set up for Microsoft Flight Sim in VR. But let me know if you've got some workarounds for that and how you found performance of virtual desktop with RBR. It'll be really interesting, especially for other people that are using a VR headset. But yeah, I mean, bloody good. It's bloody good, guys. If you haven't tried it, you have to check it out. Thanks for watching this video. Till the next one, happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye.